Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at my Shadow Salamence in the Master League Premier Cup. Master League Premier Cup going to be available in like, I think, around 5 hours when this video is going to drop. So definitely be prepared. We're going to have an interesting team here with the Hisuian Everluck. We're going to have the Saysop of the Gyarados trying to bait out potential Fairy type Pokemon. And in the back we're going to have the Salamence to try to sweep endgame with his Pokemon. Here we're gonna see already in Elite a Pokemon that you would like to see with our backline. So I tried to catch a Hydro Cannon there, but it did not work out as the opponent gonna decide to go into their own Hisuian Everluck, which we can at least still do some super effective damage against with both our Elite as well as our Saysop here as well. And we're gonna get rid of this Pokemon for our Salamence in the back, which is going to be quite helpful. Here, we will still get one Orcoteel off against the opponent, get them low enough that one Rock Slide is definitely going to be enough to knock them. But I don't know how much energy they have at this point, and so I let the move go through, and I'm gonna decide to go ahead and go for that Rock Slide kinda straight away with my own Everluck. Now we can try to catch the Hydro Cannon onto my Shadow variant of the Salamence as they're gonna swap into their own Dragonite here, which is kinda cool. And we can go for that Fly, which is the new move on this Pokemon for this season. Gonna get the shield, but they can still farm me down. This is kind of the issue with this Pokemon itself. Just like Dragonite is going to be able to win the mirror match up, and it has the same kind of typing, and so it is not really as ideal. So now we're going to have an Hisuian Everluck, which is double weak to what the Swampert has against the Swampert. And so it is going to be a little bit of a tough one, but Swampert in the Master League just doesn't have the same damage output as it has in like the Ultra or Great League. And as you're gonna see here as well, the Hydro Cannon are just barely not enough, and we can actually win this first battle with 1 HP and a Dream. Good game to the opponent, we can move on to the next one. Next opponent, we're going to have Annihilate in the lead. We can swap out straight away into our Gyarados here. We have 2 flying type Pokemon in the back, and that's going to be fine. In comes a Gyarados, which we should be able to outspeed now thanks to the few fast moves that I got in before as well. We're going to get to the moves usually at the same time, but like this, I can outspeed the opponent. They can go ahead and go for their Body Slam here, which is going to do quite some solid damage. We're going to be in the yellow health range before the opponent, but I will definitely get a shield advantage here or switch advantage, which I'm going to be both happy with. As we will see, the opponent can go for another Body Slam, but I will outspeed them to the next one, and so I can let the move go through, and I will be able to reach that Orcoteel in time to hopefully knock them out and align myself. This works out perfectly. As I go back into the Annihilate, we have to kind of stay in here so we can align our Salamence. Salamence is kind of weak to any kind of charge move that does a lot of damage. Like, we are very, very squishy here. Shadow Ball is going to get shielded from me, and they have a Metagross in the back. And for this team, this is a core breaker. Usually you would have Dragonite in the back, and Dragonite against Metagross is actually kind of a very neutral matchup. Salamence just is not the same. Like, Salamence is not the same. Dragon Breath is just so much better compared to Dragon Tail in this matchup here, I feel like. That our Salamence sadly doesn't really have a chance here for that one. And there's no great fix for this issue either. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and go for the Dragonite in the back, which is going to have a better matchup. The other alternative is something that we're going to face here right now, would be a Skeledirge in the lead. That's kind of the only way of kind of still dealing with it, because you need something in the lead that is still kind of decent against like those Fairy type Pokemon, which I guess Skeledirge would be. And I guess it would be the one other option, but in general, Skeledirge is kind of way worse than the Hisuian Everluck. Hisuian Everluck has so many great matchups in this meta. It is kind of mad. Like, this Pokemon is insanely strong. And so, yeah, we're going to be able to go for an Orcoteel here against that opponent's Primarina, get some nice damage onto them, as that next Orcoteel is going to be able to connect here as well. And we're going to get them kind of low, and this is like the cool thing. We got rid of one of the Fairy type Pokemon, which can be very good for our backline, as we have another Pokemon that's going to be weak to it. But actually I can swap out here even into my Salamence, trying to go for the full farm down. We don't get this done in time, sadly, as that Disarming Wall is gonna get shielded up. They swap back out into the Skeledirge, but they make a huge mistake by not going for the charge move. I think they had 2 moves stored already at this point, but I guess they're over-tapped. And in the back, look at this, it's going to be another Metagross. I was not expecting Metagross. I have to say that, like, Metagross is not as highly ranked anymore for this meta. And it does make sense, though, that Metagross is going to be a little bit more common. So that's kind of why I also like those earlier showcases for the upcoming metas, because you see a little bit more trends for other people that they might want to run and stuff like this. And Metagross seems to be a very good Pokemon now again. Last time around it was not as great, because like basically everywhere was Gyarados, but now we have like Dragon type Pokemon with Goodra, with Thunder Punch as well, which is going to kind of limit Gyarados a little bit. Speaking of Goodra, we just saw it here as well for, I think, the first time. We're going to see the Golden Ghost swapping in. I should have swapped out earlier. I decided to go for an Icy when thinking, oh, maybe I can now easily take like 2 Shadow Balls or whatever, and it's going to be a better spot for me as well. It is not the case. We are going to be forced to go for Crunch here, of course, trying to get the knockout against the opponent, but we're still in a very tough spot. The opponent actually going to decide to let the move go through, and I was like, yeah, I should be able to survive with Shadow Ball based on what I saw before in terms of the damage output. And it turns out I was wrong, I do not survive that, and so yeah, we're going to be in a tough spot. We're going to be able to go into our Everlight here as they're going to go into their Metagross again. Metagross is literally everywhere here, and that's kind of just a KO thing for us. But again, also, here we are battling quite a lot of very good players, so feel free to just copy their teams as well. I feel like this is going to be something that you can do for sure as well. Most likely Salamence is not going to be the best Pokemon, but I don't think like you expected this Pokemon to be the best Pokemon ever, so I don't think it's too surprising at least, but yeah, it is what it is. Here we're gonna sadly go up against the Metagross and we're just gonna let the move go through. There's no real reason for me to use a shield and we can just move on to the next opponent. Everluck against Goodra. This is going to be a matchup that is quite positive for us. Even though they're going to have super effective coverage, it's still going to be positive. They swap out into the Annihilate, and maybe I should have swapped out straight away, but I kind of want to drop the opponent's attack a little bit, so the matchup for our Gyarados is going to be even a little bit easier. So, even a Shadow Ball, we don't really have to use a shield against. They're gonna go for a Night Slash though, which is not gonna get the boost for them either. And they can go for another one if they want to, but I can overfarm by quite a bit, which is quite lovely as well. The opponent tries to go for another Night Slash, not gonna get the boost here at all, and the Awkward Tail is now going to be able to connect, knock them out, and we can align ourselves. We're gonna get the Goodra against us. Very likely, I don't think, maybe they're gonna go in something different. Let's see. It's actually something different. It's going to be Volcarona. And if you're watching this video as well, if you want to send in some Volcarona battles for this meta, I would really appreciate it. I would really love to see this Pokemon perform in this meta. I know it's going to be not a smart Pokemon to use that. It's not going to be a good Pokemon, but I still would really like to showcase the XL Volcarona for this meta because I feel like it's such a cool Pokemon. I don't know, I definitely don't have enough XL Candy for this Pokemon yet, but yeah, definitely a cool Pokemon to have. And it's gonna be hopefully very decent in the future. Like, definitely needs like 2 move updates minimum to be good, but I definitely hope that's going to be good in the future. I have 71 XL Candies for this Pokemon. I don't think this is going to be enough. But still, yeah, if you want to send in some battles with this Pokemon, would really appreciate it. As we're gonna knock them out here, we can move on to the next opponent. Everluck against Salamence. That's going to be a lovely matchup for us. Let's see what they're gonna swap into. They're staying in, so they're going to be double weak to me, I guess. We're gonna use an Icy Wind. They most are gonna use a shield if they double weaked against me as well. But look at the damage that I did and look at the damage they did here. And we're gonna see as well the Metagross. I decided to swap out very late into the Gyarados, which is kinda a silly play, especially if you know that they're going to be weak against you on the back. Doing this does not really make any sense at all, but we can still go for the Crunch. Crunch is going to connect against the opponent, is going to be able to get the shield from them as well, and now it's going to be down to us trying to reach another Crunch. Let's see, the opponent is going to go for a charge move. We're going to be forced to use a shield here, of course, because this is our only hard answer to that Metagross, and we can get rid of that Metagross here, which is quite nice for us. Let's see what they're going to decide to go into. They're going to decide to go into their final Pokemon, being that Shadow Shiny Dragonite is quite cool, honestly. I really wish I would have got a good one for that, but like this looked like a really good one actually, so congrats to that. This might be even a Shundo variant of these Salamence. I'm not too sure about it, but very cool Pokemon here, but our Salamence is going to be able to just win this battle. Next opponent. Hopefully this Shiny King actually has only 3 shiny Pokemon. First Pokemon is already shiny in the Goodra, and I think this might be also a Hundo or something like this. Yeah, like I have not really had any luck with Hundos recently, but that is kind of crazy, at least if you have a Shundo of this one there. Of course, I know a lot of people use maps in order to get those Pokemon, but here we're gonna see the swap out into a Snorlax. Please be shiny. If you're not shiny, it's kind of embarrassing. It is shiny, of course. Look at this. Honestly, I feel like if you look at like pictures and like also in the main series games, like shiny Snorlax seems so underrated and like so kind of not as cool. But in Pokemon Go, this Pokemon looks so amazing. Like look at it. It's such a cool color on it. I don't know, I really would like to build one as well if I would get a good one there. But they're going to have in the back end a shiny Hisuian Everluck as well, which is cool to see. So triple shiny team, at least they did this year. But yeah, we're going to be able to go for the fly. We're gonna not farm them down here because there's quite a lot of damage coming out from the opponent. I can go into my Gyarados and try to catch the move here. Definitely did not work out at all, but I can still go for an Icy Wind against the opponent. Now it comes down to me thinking if it is better for me to let go the Thunder Punch or better for me to let go the Rock Slide. Thunder Punch is going to be non-step and debuffed, and so I think it is better to let this one go through. But is it going to help me as well? I'm kind of forced to hope that they're going to go for a bait here and have to call this. and they do not, and so sadly I'm going to lose this battle. Next opponent, we're going to have a Metagross. I decided to swap out straight into my Gyarados, hoping that they would maybe stay in here, and they decide to stay in for a little bit. And that's kind of great for me, because apparently they're going to be double weak to me then. And so I definitely take this matchup, because if I hit this crunch, I definitely have a decent chance of winning this battle. But they decide to use a shield, and so we're going to be in a little bit of a tougher spot, as we're forced to use a shield now as well, hoping that I can reach another crunch later on. Meteor Mash coming through, and they decide to swap out into the Swampert. This is actually a very decent matchup usually, but we're already kind of low, and Swampert is a Pokemon that I kind of would rather have against my Salamence, but they decide to go for a charge move first, and so I'm forced to use a shield here in order to keep my only answer for the Metagross alive, and I'm gonna try to catch the move, which does work out, and I should be able to farm down before they can even go for another charge move, which is kinda cool for us, because we're very likely gonna get out that Metagross again, which we hopefully can punish with an Outrage, or never mind, it's going to be actually the Rhyperior here, and so I can still go for the charge move here. This is going to be able to get the final shield from the opponent. They're forced to go for a charge move as well, very likely a breaking swipe, which would knock me out, but let's see what they're gonna go for. Actually a Rock Wrecker, which is an overkill, like they don't have to do this, but I definitely enjoy this one. And so I can hopefully still align my Gyarados here, and I can align my Gyarados, and this is going to be quite important, because now Crunch is coming through, hopefully we're gonna get a debuff here. We do get the debuff, and this is also quite important, because now our fast move pressure is a little bit higher, which is cool, and so even the resisted Powder Snow and also Dragon Breath is going to be enough to knock them out. And now it's down to our Everluck. Can we knock out that Rhyperior? Rhyperior is quite bulky. Let's see how this is gonna go. We're gonna be able to hit that Icy Wind, and we can go for that full farm down. They had to try to go for either a Superpower, a Surf, or the Rock Wrecker, but I guess they were running Breaking Swipe and Rock Wrecker, which just does not really work out for them. Speaking of not really working out, having here a Charmer against me is also not really ideal for me. I can go for that neutral Awkward here, which is kind of cool here in this matchup, but then again, it's not going to be a great matchup at all. We can go for another Awkward here. I think it is best for me to let the next move go through if they're gonna go for that before, and they do. Hoping that I maybe still, so I don't survive this one at all. It's going to be a Draining Kiss, but I can go for the full farm down now without having to throw any charge moves, which is kind of cool here. So this might still be a way of winning this battle. I'm forced to swap out straight away, and they're going to have in the back that Goodra. Goodra, fine, is usually okay for me, but at this point, like, we are in such a tough spot. We have to go for that Fly, we have to get them kind of low. We are forced to use some shields later on as well. But I decided to let this move go through, because my play here now is to fully farm them down with my Everluck. I have to use a shield now anyway still, and try to hit like 2 of the Icy Winds against the Annihilate, and hope that 2 Icy Winds are enough to knock out the Annihilate. But we have to see about this. They don't get to another move. I can go for the back-to-back Icy Winds straight away, so they counter damage, which is double super effective. It's not going to do too much damage against us, but as you can see here already, this is not going to work. This is just not going to work. 2 Icy Winds are not enough to knock out an Annihilate, and so sadly this is going to be a loss here again. And this is not going to work out for us at all. They decide to use a shield here. I can still try to reach another one, but yeah, they can even reach another charge move. I think it's just a Night Slash. It doesn't knock us out, but yeah, I can still try to see on how close the matchup was at the end of the day. But it was just a tough one to come back from. Kinda got hardwalled here, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the final one for today. Great lead for us, it's going to be that Dragonite, and they swap out into the Snorlax. So what we can do is actually just go for an Icy Wind and dip. This is going to allow us to get some damage onto them, going to allow us to align ourselves guaranteed, and also just going to have a better time in general. And I make a mistake here by going to the Salamence. I should have not done this, like there's no real reason for me to do this. Here it's going to be a little more tricky to align myself. And I can let the move go through now. Body Slam is going to do quite a lot of damage still, even after the debuff. I should have just went into the Gyarados. Gyarados is just a safer play. But at least I get out of here with a lot of energy. And we're still in a decent spot. I can go for the Fly. They're very likely just going to use a shield no matter what. And so maybe I can even reach another Fly afterwards, which I can't. But at least I can align myself. And hopefully it's a Pokemon in the back that we can deal with. The only hard answer to our Pokemon here would be a Magnezone. Literally, like this is a core breaker for this team as well, where again, if you're running the Skeleton lead instead of the Everluck, you would kinda fix that issue as well. But my only play was to catch a Mirror Shot, maybe, which they don't have to go for. And so, yeah, this game is over. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's the worst possible Pokemon that I could have encountered. It's the only Pokemon that breaks this core. But yeah, it is what it is. We're going to sadly take a loss here as well. So this team maybe didn't work out as much as I expected. But yeah, Metagross definitely something that you have to be aware of. Also, Magnezone going to be most likely also a little bit more common soon as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Check out the top teams as well that you see on the screen right now, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.